Well, hey everybody, Mr. Reeves back with you, and we are looking at lesson 6.1 in the Math 7 textbook, Algebraic Expressions. Specifically, we are looking at combining like terms and applying the distributive properties. So I'm actually not going to be working with some problems from the textbook. I'm going to be using this worksheet here to go through some different problems for you. All right, so here we go. So this first section here says combine like terms and simplify each expression. All right, so let's do a quick review of what like terms are. So like terms are terms that have the same variable and actually it could be more than one variable, the same variable or variables to the same power or powers. All right, so the same power or powers. Okay, so like terms are terms that have the same variable or variables to the same power. Now, for the ones we're doing, if you look here, you see that we only have one variable and we don't have any exponents. All right, so for us, like terms right now, we're just looking for terms that have the same variable. Okay, and if they don't have a variable, all constants are like terms. All right, all constants. And remember, a constant is just another name for a number. All constants are like terms. Okay? So like terms for us right now, basically we're just looking for the same variable. And of course, if it doesn't have a variable, all constants are like terms. So if I just went quickly through here, all right, 4x and 5x, those are like terms because they have the same variable. 4n and 3n, those are like terms because they have the same variable. All right, 9n and 3n, like terms because they have the same variable. Negative 2x and 7x, like terms because they have the same variable. 4 and 1, like terms because they are constants. 1 and 6, like terms because they are constants. 6 and 8, like terms because they are constants. All right? Okay, so that's what like terms are. When we are combining like terms, we are, whoops, didn't mean to do that. When we are combining like terms, we are adding or subtracting. All right, so combining like terms, combining like terms, is adding or subtracting. So we add or subtract like terms. Now, what do we mean by that? Each one of these like terms has a number in front of the variable. The number in front of the variable is called the coefficient. All right? The number the number in front of the variable is called the coefficient. So the coefficient on that one's -4. The coefficient on that one is 5. The coefficient on that one is 7. The coefficient on that one is 6. All right. So combining like terms is adding or subtracting coefficients. All right. Adding or subtracting coefficients. Again, a coefficient is the number in front of that variable. All right, so that is an introduction, again, of like terms. So here we go. So let's take a look at these ones. -4x plus 5x. Those are like terms because they both have x. The coefficient on this one is -4. The coefficient on this one is 5. Well, we know that -4 plus 5 is 1. So we get 1x, but we usually just write x. All right. Okay, what about this one? Number 2, 1 plus 5v plus v minus 6. Well, if we color code these, all right, that 5v and that v are like terms. Now, you do want to make sure that you look at the operations in front so you know whether you are adding or subtracting. 5v's plus 1v, that's going to give me 6v, all right? And then these constants we've said are like terms, but again, I'm going to make sure I include that operation in front of it. So I have 1 take away 6. All right, so 1 take away 6 is -5, or what do we have? 6v minus 5. All right, this one right here, what do we have here going on? We've got 4n and 3n, and I'm going to grab that plus in front of it. Those are like terms. And then we also have plus 4n plus 1. So if we put the like terms together, 4n plus 3n, that's going to give me 7n. And then plus 4 plus 1, that's going to give me plus 5. 7n plus 5. By the way, I should mention that once you have combined like terms, then you cannot put the ones that are not like terms together. Okay, so 6v minus 5 is the answer. It doesn't become 1v. You can't do anything with that 6 and that 5 because this is 6 v's and that's 5 1s. All right, okay, so that is combining like terms. Let's do one more. Let's do number 8 down here. All right, I've got 6. And I've got 8, but remember, we're always going to grab that operation in front of the like term. I've got 7n with a minus in front of it, and I've got a 2n with a minus in front of it. Okay, so what do we've got here? We've got 6 minus 8. Well, 6 take away 8 is -2. And then if you take away 7n and then take away 2n, that's minus 9n. Okay, so that is combining like terms. Again, like terms are terms that have the same variable. Now again, as we get more advanced, they'll have more than one variable, and also they can have exponents, but for us it's just the same variable, and all constants are like terms. Combining those like terms is adding or subtracting the coefficients in front of those like terms. All right. Okay, let's move on now to the distributive property. Let's get this stuff off the screen. We don't need that. All right, the distributive property is a multiplication. All right, so the distributive property is multiplying what's outside the parentheses by what's inside the parentheses. All right, so the distributive property, we're going to distribute multiplication. We're going to distribute multiplication to the terms inside the parentheses. Okay, we're going to distribute multiplication to the terms inside the parentheses. Remember, according to order of operations, we would do what's inside the parentheses before we multiplied. But since we don't know what these variables equal, we don't know what r is or what n is or what b is, we're going to go ahead and distribute the multiplication. I like to draw these arrows to show what we are doing here. All right, let me start with number 15. 8 times the quantity of r plus 1. That's going to be 8 times r plus 8 times 1. You see how we're distributing that multiplication? Well, 8 times r is 8r, and 8 times 1 is 8. And that's our answer because those are not like terms, and we cannot combine them. Here we go. Here we're going to have 3 times -7, all right, minus 3 times 8. And now be careful. You'll notice here we have a subtraction and a subtraction. So make sure you pay close attention to whether you have addition or whether you have subtraction inside those parentheses. All right, so 3 times -7 would be -21. And then 3 times 8n would be 24n. And again, those are not like terms, so we can't combine them. All right, down here I'd have 2 times 6n. Okay, 2 times 6n minus 2 times 8. Well, 2 times 6n is 12n minus 2 times 8 is 16. All right, so the distributive property is when you distribute multiplication to the terms inside the parentheses. These all have just 2 terms inside, but you could have 3 terms or 4 terms or as many terms as you want to. All right, so we started off by looking at combining like terms. Then we looked at the distributive property. Now, lastly, we're going to look at both. We're going to use the distributive property and then combine like terms. And you'll notice that the directions say first use the distributive property. First, use the distributive property. That's because we are going to follow the order of operations. All right, and according to the order of operations, PEMDAS, right? All right, multiplication comes before addition and subtraction. All right, and multiplication is what we do when we are distributing, right? And addition and subtraction, that's what we do when we are combining like terms. Okay? All right. So that's why we're going to first distribute and then we're going to combine like terms. Okay? So let's take a look at this one right here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute. So when I distribute down there, that's going to give me 4n plus 4 times 1, which is 4. And then I have negative n. So that takes care of the distributing part. Now I want to combine my like terms. All right, what are my like terms right here? I have a minus n and I have a plus 4n. Well, when I put those two together, what do I get? I get 3n, and then that plus 4 doesn't have any like terms to be combined with, so I get 3n plus 4. All right, if I go to this one right here, number 26, I'm going to distribute first. Okay, so I get negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. Remember, that's a minus, so I'm going to put a minus. And then I'm going to do negative 1 times 3x, so that's going to give me negative 9x, almost forgot the x, plus 2x. So I distributed, and now I'm going to combine my like terms. Real quick, subtracting a negative is the same as adding a positive. So this is going to become plus 9x, just so you know. So my like terms here are 9x plus 2x, okay? And 9x plus 2x is going to give me 11x. So I get negative 3 plus 11x. All right, just so you know, many times you're going to see that written as 11x minus 3 because adding a negative is the same as subtracting a positive. And most of the time we like to subtract positives rather than add negatives. All right, here we go on this one. Again, I'm going to distribute first, right, because multiplication comes before addition and subtraction. And when I do that, I get 6k plus, there it is, plus negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. All right, minus 7. Here we go. Now I'm ready to combine my like terms because I distributed. Well, my constants here are my like terms. Now we got to be careful. I've got negative 8 minus 7. All right, well, negative 8 minus 7 is the same as negative 8 plus negative 7, right? That's going to give me negative 15. So I get 6k either plus negative 15, but again, we don't like to add negatives. We prefer to subtract positives. So 6k minus 15. All right? So again, when you have the distributive property with some other terms there, you're going to always distribute first, and then you're going to combine like terms. And the reason we distribute first is because of order of operations. And the order of operations, the correct order of operations, tells us that multiplication comes before addition and subtraction. Distributing is multiplication. Combining like terms is adding and subtracting. So there you go. Combining like terms, the distributive property, and then applying both of them to expressions. Those are ways that we simplify algebraic expressions. All right, have a great day. Until next time.